Alright, 7th of July, and it's 2022. We're continuing to work here with our do-it-yourself black powder, and we're working on it in a 1851 Uberti that we purchased around 2019. And this gun shoots a couple inches to the right, the way it came, and 2 or 3 inches high. We didn't really want to butcher our front sight up too much, leave that original as we can. And same thing for the rear sight. So we did is we found a hammer that was came out of a Colt, 2nd generation, and I had ground off the hammer back to almost to this point here because it was shooting, of course, too high. And it turns out that I lowered the sight a little too much. I was actually able to oversee in the front of the barrel here, not the front but the rear end of the barrel. So that wasn't working out in the Colt, so we took it out. Anyway, we did is we built that up with some gas weld here. And now today what we're going to do is try to see if we can't sight that in, put the notch in the right spot, and see if we can get this gun to hit more towards point of aim. So to see where the gun's going to shoot approximately with this different hammer, I fired 3 shots. I centered the front sight with the top of the hammer, and that's going to cause the shots to go high, but it'll allow me to get some idea of where the notch needs to be, and also how much of the hammer to grind off. Well, that's a pretty decent little group up there. Let's just shut the camera off and go make some modifications on the sight. And after those 3 shots, I removed the cylinder and took the gun in half with a grinder to cut down some off the hammer. And I used a Dremel tool to set a notch to the left side of center on the hammer. Because this notch was shallow, I had to have the front bead above it, and that's going to cause the shots to go high for the next 3. Up to the left a little more. Okay, we'll bring that sight back to the right. We've got to load up another 6. I've got a 2nd string loaded up. Made a little more modification to the sight. Here's kind of what that back sight looks like. Now that we're kind of finished working on it. Not real beautiful, but I opened it up. That's not the original from the Uberti here. This is all from one out of a Colt 2nd generation. Then I had to actually build it up a little bit with some weld, and then I cut her back down. So I had to move it to the left because this gun was shooting a little bit to the right. So here's a look at the way the gun shot pretty much out of the box. I was shooting about 2 or 3 inches to the right and a couple inches high. By putting that hammer that came out of a Colt 2nd generation that I had to build up, and then I cut it back down, I'm able to get the gun to shoot pretty much where I want to. We use 13 grains of the do-it-yourself. No cornmeal on this because my loading device can compress that. I found out just well, so we didn't have to use the cornmeal on this one. I say this was a 700 feet per second shot, and my other shots were running around 850 to 900, so I'm maybe suspicious that that's the reason this one's down here. But anyway, this is what we got, and I think now we're pretty much zeroed in, and we're going to try it out on some tin cans, actually pop cans. That reminds me of what someone said one time: good against remotes is one thing. I think sighting at a black dot on a white background is one thing, but actually getting into some 3-dimensional targets, lighting isn't quite as good as it should be. That'll be the real test. I have 2 for 1. Good thing that was my last shot. Well, the coroner's examined these bodies down there and brought this one back. It appears I didn't miss this one. And there's my final shot that took it in, but I got one up here that was right about through there. Apparently wasn't enough water below it to, or above it or whatever to do much. And then I winged it on the left side over here with another shot. And the third shot more or less centered on it. Shooting a little bit high, which is probably okay. Excellent. So really we ended up with 6 for 6.